Okay, so the first question that I have for you, one second here, there we go, is why should I grow as a leader? And this is a really good question because there are many out there who are afraid of leadership. They don't want to be a leader, and there's a lot of stress because as you become a leader, your responsibility level actually increases as well. And I have always seen the business leaders who are part of my team as families. These are families that I am responsible for, and that if I can help them have fantastic incomes and stay at home, that's what I want to do. And so when we become responsible for helping families, it can be a little bit intimidating. But if you're doing it all yourself, personal success without leadership brings minimal success. So what does that mean? Well, that basically is the admission that we are only one person. And so if you as one person charge out there to try to do everything, we all only have the same 24 hours in a day. And so what you're going to be able to accomplish by yourself is going to be minimal. And this chart right here, John Maxwell actually has in his book, and it's your leadership abilities. So you would be leading one person. And this is the success scale. So, you may be able to get really far in your success with Young Living being yourself, but it's going to be taking a lot of time and a lot of energy. Whereas success with leadership produces so much more. If you are helping to lead 7 people, so you have yourself times 7, if you look at that exact same scale where it sits, at about 8.5, I guess, you're achieving so much more. And it's only by being able to hone your skills as a leader that you are going to be able to gain those extra people, and you're really going to be able to sow the vision that you want to and get a lot more things done. You're going to be able to go a lot farther. So what does that mean for you? What does it mean when you start to actually lead people in your own business? Well, this is the difference between both time and money freedom. By yourself, you can build a good Young Living business. You can go out there and meet people and sell essential oils every day. You can decide to have a retail business to where, it's just you selling oils. You can certainly do that, but you'll have a lot of money freedom, but you're not going to have a lot of time freedom because if you're not there, it's not going to happen. Your business isn't going to be growing. So that's one reason why it's important for you in particular to grow as a leader. Next, growing into Young Living, when you become silver, gold, diamond, crown diamond, royal crown diamond, and you start moving up through the ranks, well, guess what? If you're doing this by yourself, the number of hours that you're going to be working every single week is going to increase as you begin to go throughout the ranks. Now, as you do this, as you become a leader, the amount that you will be working is going to increase a little bit, but it shouldn't be, replacing a corporate job with working full-time for your Young Living business. And if you are an effective leader, it won't be. You're going to be empowering your team instead of creating a situation where they are constantly relying on you. And this is in any situation. If you can help your team know where to get information from, then you don't have to take the phone calls for the questions that many people have that get asked over and over and over again because they're going to know where to find the information. You're going to be able to grow faster, and you're also going to be able to duplicate. I put the simple structure classes in there because that's what my team uses, but you're going to be able to duplicate as well. So before you're a leader, success is all about growing yourself. When you become a leader, success is all about growing others. So as you begin to grow yourself by reading this book and the other books that we'll go through, you're going to notice that you will start to help other people grow as well, and that's really important. So here are the 4 phases of leadership. that John Maxwell outlines in the beginning of this book. Phase 1 is I don't know what I don't know. Phase 2 is I know what I don't know. Phase 3 is I grow and I know and it starts to show. And phase 4 is I simply go because of what I know. And I know what I don't know, or I don't know what I don't know. In this particular phase, this is where I see a lot of people start out in Young Living. And I'm going to ask you guys about your personal experiences about being in this situation. This is when you don't realize that you really are going to have to lead anything. So you don't really recognize the value of leadership. You don't see yourself as a leader. You know, I'm not a leader. I've got some oils in my pocket, and that's just what I'm doing. It's the if you want it done right, you have to do it yourself mentality. You're working more hours for the same return as others within the same Young Living level. You don't do any follow-up. You do very little, almost no follow-up. Every single solitary month you're working hard, and you actually don't really have an awareness that it can really be any different. And this phase 2, this is actually where I have met a lot of you at. And this is where I'm going to ask for, I'll actually talk to you guys here in just a second and I'll open up the line. But I get more calls that say, I'm working and things are going great, but I'm so tired and I don't have any time. There has to be another way. When you hit that idea that there has to be another way and you get that feeling, that's when you move into phase 2. And you start going, well, I don't know what I don't know, but I want to figure out what it is. And our accidental business builders actually end up here a lot because they just started with oils, and these are the guys that tell you, you know, I love the product, but I don't want to build a business. This is where they end up because all of a sudden they have this business and they're going, oh my gosh, I need to look for a duplicatable system. I need to find better information. And I'm going to pick on somebody over here. Okay, so I'm going to unmute the line.
You are now unmuted.
And Jane, I know that you and Bob were here as well. Do you want to talk about this just a little bit? And or if somebody wants to share a story about what that feels like to hit that moment where you go, I've got to find another way.
Hi. Well, yeah, definitely. It's part of that process, and yeah, where you try certain things and you do realize that you can't. It's just really hard to find the same. I don't know. I guess it comes back to almost that 80-20 rule, right? With people, whether you're in the PTA or whatever it is, you're always going to have a few people that get out there and work hard and do whatever, right? And then
yes.
You've got 80% that don't. And of that 80% that don't, there's that middle section of people that really you could actually teach and coach. And if you don't have a duplicatable system, then you really just hit and miss, and it's that kind of accidental thing. And so, just with my coaching background, it's just taken a while. And of course, Bob's got great leadership in his business stuff, so as well. But it's just taken us some time to try to figure out, and thanks to your simple model of doing classes, that's really helping us try to move forward because it's duplicatable and you can teach people that. And like I said, as a swim coach, I was never afraid of recruiting a kid onto the swim team that didn't even know how to swim because I knew I could teach him. So that's what I want to transfer now into the Young Living business is the same thing. We've got some duplicational process here, and we can teach anybody that's willing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
You are now muted.
So let's take a look at the next phase. So once you're at the I don't know what I don't know, this is actually a great quote. To be conscious that you are ignorant of the facts is a great step to knowledge. And once you start getting that bug that there's something else out there that you've got to add to yourself, even in Young Living or even without. I know I hit that with organization. When you have kids and then you add your Young Living business and you're also working full-time and you start having all of these things coming at you, it can feel very overwhelming. So I hit that moment as well where I go, oh my gosh, there has to be something out there. I don't know how to organize any of this, but I know that I have to and I know that I need to. And so the next natural phase is leaders are learners. And this is something that John Maxwell says as well. As a matter of fact, he says that leaders are readers and readers are leaders. That's kind of a longer version of that quote. And so this is when you come, when you see your leadership and you go, I really want to be a more effective leader, or I just want to talk to other leaders. So I'm going to do an online book club. Or for me, I actually had to go get some books on organization to figure out how in the world to organize so many moving parts. Successful leaders are learners, and the learning process is ongoing, a result of self-discipline and perseverance. So here is something that I would like you all to take on from the book club today, and I kind of want to challenge you to do this week. And that is take 30 minutes out of your day and actually spend it in reading. So you can, take on the reading for next week or grab another book on leadership. But I want you to see how fast, think of an idea or think of something in your life that you really feel like you want to gain some knowledge in. It can be organization, it can be leadership, it can be network marketing as an actual business. There's some great books on that. It can be about vision. January is a great month to start building your vision. But I want to challenge every single one of you this week to spend 30 minutes every single day learning something new. And what you're going to realize is that this ongoing process, it does take self-discipline. And one of the stories that I loved in the book was about Brian, who was 19, and John Maxwell saw him at the event and really saw him taking notes and being very diligent in trying to absorb all of the information. And so John Maxwell has him stand up in front of all of these people and says, in 20 years, you're going to be a good leader. And I think if I was 19 and somebody told me in 20 years you're going to be a good leader, I don't know about you guys, but for me, it would have felt a little self-deflating because when you're young, when you're 19, you don't want to have to put 20 years into anything. And the idea that you can actually imagine your life 20 years from where it is today, it's a little overwhelming. So start with 30 minutes of ongoing education, and you're going to realize, just how quickly you start to gain effective information. So phase 3 is where it starts to really get exciting. And Misty, I'm going to have you talk about this in just a second. So I'm going to pick on you next. So this is I grow and I know and it starts to show. And what this is that you begin the daily discipline of learning some leadership steps. And so you start to plug into the duplicatable system and you start to train your team how to do it. And then all of a sudden, different members of your team start to take off with what you have essentially led them to do. And so it takes a little bit more work up front, but you and your team are going to be better off in the long run if you pay attention to this phase 3 of leadership. So when you go into phase 3, this is where you start doing, and I'm going to make this kind of pertain to Young Living because I know that everybody that we have on the line is in Young Living, but it also helps with other things that you may be doing as well. So if you have a corporate job and you're in a position of leadership, you can almost start doing this before you even get an official leadership position. But you really start empowering people and training people to a certain system so that they feel very confident in what the next step in that system is. and then they can begin to anticipate issues before you even have to tackle them. This is a great place to be. It's when you first start the ball rolling downhill, and this is exactly where Missy Cheek is finding herself. We've got a duplicatable system. She knows what it looks like when somebody says, yes, Missy, I want to build a business with you. And so Missy, I want you to talk about it just a little bit, what it was like going from phase 1 to phase 2. And you actually did that pretty quickly.
You are now unmuted.
Okay, I tried to call in. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I didn't know how to do it on my computer, so I just called in. Okay, yes, it did happen. It happened quick. So I guess the first thing I would say is I don't know when you conquer the fear. I think you just have to just deal with it and just take that next step, because it's a step of faith, but it's a scary step. Because it's so easy to just hold on to that crutch and just listen to you do it, Beverly. But it's not fulfilling. I think the fulfillment comes when you step into that next phase, because as long as I just, use you as the crutch or your leader as the crutch, then, that person continues to get better, but you stay, I guess, stale. So I'm excited about phase 2. I'm excited to learn to lead, and every time that I'm taking that step and trying to lead my own person, doing my own getting started calls, I feel more confident about the information, and I feel more prepared to help them next time. So I think it's an exciting step to be at.
Well, excellent. And you're doing it well, Missy. And I am going to open up the line to you towards the end for everybody, because I do want to get your opinions about the different stories of the books that you read and what that looked like for you. So I'm hoping that one of these weeks I'm going to get a lot smoother at that. So if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, and do more and become more, you are a leader. And I think that in the same way that we find the accidental young living business leader, I think there's a lot more leaders out there than people who realize that they're leading other people. And as I read through the book, that was one thing that kind of struck me, is how many people are leading and they don't even know it. How many people, if anybody has somebody in their life that really inspires them to do more, to learn more, to be more, to become more, that person is such a leader in your life, and you should really honor them. So here's the final phase that was in this book. And this section with BB, it was like a paragraph long. So he didn't have a whole lot of information here because it's so simple. When you reach phase 4, I simply go because of what I know. That is when everything starts to become automatic. And what's nice about this is that when it comes to the duplicatable Young Living system, I float somewhere between phase 3 and phase 4, somewhere right in there. Because some of the things that I do in Young Living are very automatic to me because I've done them so many times. When somebody says, hey, Beverly, I want to build a business, or if one of my team members calls me and says, hey, Beverly, somebody just told me that they wanted to build a business, I know the step to do next, which is fantastic, and that's what we've all been learning. But it's not fully automatic for me yet. I can tell you that. But it's nice to know that there will come a time when it will be completely automatic. And that's what phase 4 is that it's when your leadership actually takes on steps that are somewhat automatic and very second nature. So this is a graphic here that shows how your actual actions become more effective. And so here are your 4 phases. They go around counterclockwise. And when you don't know what you don't know, and this isn't any of you, if you are on this call, you are wanting to grow in the area of leadership. I mean, that's just the way it goes. Every single person that is on this call is in an upward trajectory into leadership. But first, you're ineffective, and you're really unaware of the fact that you are ineffective. It is really quite interesting how that works. But then you get into this awareness because you go, okay, there are things out there that I don't know, and all of a sudden you have this realization. You're still not quite effective, but at least you're aware. At least you're aware that there needs to be something that has got to change in order for you to be a more effective leader and to have a more effective life and to lead people around you. So then you go into that phase 3, and in phase 3, not only are you aware, but you are learning, and it's starting to show in your team, and you're starting to become effective as a leader. You're aware because you're still constantly learning, constantly building. And then you simply go because of what you know. That is effective, and it puts you back in the unaware category, not because you're not paying attention, but because you get such a comfort with your ability to lead people that you no longer have to just go out there and really jump in and effectively learn, or you don't have to be quite so hungry, I guess is the best way to say that. So leadership is developed daily, not in a day. That is reality. And so much like Brian, who we all heard about on the or in the book, you've got to do a little bit every single day. And I don't think that there's ever a time when, as a leader, you really sit back and go, wow, I guess I'm a leader now. Because, Terry, I think you are an incredible leader. And I don't think I've ever seen you, sit back and just go, okay, I'm on autopilot now, and put your feet up and not be effectively learning things all the time. So I think that's kind of interesting how that flows through. But I'm going to open up the line now, and I just want to know what you guys thought and what parts in that beginning really spoke to you. And Terry, feel free to weigh in as well when it comes to leadership and reaching kind of the top of leadership.
You are now unmuted.
Well, Bev, I'll jump in real quick and share that, when I first started Young Living,
you are now muted.
I want to be a product specialist. And honestly, for the first 18 months, I just did everything I could do to become a product specialist. And that was actually very helpful. And then I woke up one morning and said, I think it's time to become a manager. And I just decided to give myself a promotion. And then from there, I decided one day to become a CEO. But here's the bottom line, I think, Bev, in what I love, what you've just taught, and some of the other things in the book, is I came to the conclusion eventually that it was not going to ultimately be about my product knowledge of Young Living. It was not going to be about any of that. It was actually going to be about my own ability to communicate with not only my distributors, but my clients, my customers, my prospects. And it was that personal development, which you just said, being a reader, always developing personally on a personal basis. I know that that's the one thing that took me to Royal Crown Diamond.
Wow, that's great. That's really good to know. And you built your business initially. You built your business really fast as well, right?
Yes, I built my business very fast, and then I slowed down purposefully because I was a mom with very young kids. So when I reached the income level that our family needed at that time, then I cut back my hours. That's another beautiful thing about Young Living. Young Living allows you to do that as a parent. And then when you see you have more time and you invest more time and you grow your business, and so it allows you to do that. So not to get off the subject of leadership, but also learning to become a good leader, I had to learn what it meant to be a good leader as a busy mom. and how to keep those priorities straight, Bev.
That's great. That's fantastic.
You are now unmuted.
So, well, thank you. Thank you for sharing. And I think you're right. You know, it is it's a unique system that does let us put, you know, you and I, we're busy moms, and that's important, you know, to make sure that we're always there for our kids. For other people, I'm sure that you on the line have things that you love to do as well. And does somebody have a story that was in the book that particularly touched you or your life or something that you learned? I hear some people. You may have to hit *6 to unmute your line. I know Missy ended up having to call in.
I think I
Well, Bev, I'd like to speak to something I've observed in you. And and for those of you that don't know, Beverly and I are from Colorado Springs, and Beverly is also my executive assistant, which means she actually has a job. Unfortunately, I'm sure I'll be losing her very soon because her business is growing so fast. But Beth, here's what I've observed about you. You're always borrowing books from me. You're saying, Terry, can I take this overnight, you know, or can I just take this tape series overnight? You are such a learner, Beth. And as you have been studying, I have literally, from day to day, seen your growth. It's unbelievable. And when you don't know how, it's amazing. When you don't know how to do something, you figure it out and you learn it. And I'm just blown away. And I told you when I first met you, I think 8 years ago, I said, Bev, I said, your age. I said, I just have never met anybody, you know, so mature. But it's because you love to learn. And so I think that's what I'm taking away from the book. And then I want to point out to other people who are taking this class.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And Donna, Donna, was that you that was going to add something?
Me and Donna sounded like it's Missy again.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I only heard 2 words.
That's okay. This kind of goes along with what Terry was just saying. I think what excites me about this book and about what she just said about you is that this book was quick to say in phase 1 that, you know, we as people believe that leadership is only for a few. And so I think we use that as an excuse not to become a leader. But I like, as you finish through part 1 of this book, that it says there near the end that even if a person has natural talent, and of course some people do, some people naturally are better communicators, but the bottom line is that everybody, whether it's natural ability or not, has to prepare and train to be successful. So that means I can too.
Yeah, that's great. Well, good. I'm very glad. And I'm just going to ask one more time before we close up here if anybody has anything else that they would like to add. Okay, fantastic. Well, everyone, I'm so happy that we had a chance to get together today. This was the section 1 of John Maxwell, or part 1 as it's labeled in the book, of Leadership 101. Next week, part 2 will actually be taught by Missy, so that's going to be exciting.
You are now muted.
And I want to encourage you now, you don't have to necessarily go and buy the books. A lot of these will be available in your library, but it really is one that is good to just keep on your bookshelf. So I took mine. This was one that I borrowed from Terry, believe it or not, and then I ended up having to replace it because I couldn't help but mark it up. So it's like a lot of books I can take, I'll take a notebook and I'll take my notes. But with this one in particular, I ended up marking all over this thing. So I had to go, Terry, I bought your book. I'm going to have to replace this one. So anyway, it was fantastic to see you all on here. Next week, we're going to be doing part 2. And then if you want to hang on the line a little bit, I promised to put up a couple of YouTube links to some other training that I have as well. So thank you, everybody, for coming, and we will see you next week at the same time. And you will see the link either on Facebook or in your email for that. So, oh, Linda, if you register, when you see the link to register for the meeting and you register for it, I will email out the